joining us today?
Yep. We are now going live here in a moment. We're going to get officially started. The rest of our peeps are coming in a moment. But of course, the MCC Virtual Business Box Lunch, going to do some button pushing. Paul here is with me. Matt's coming in. Lorette is waiting in the waiting room as well. We'll be getting to all of that here in just 1 second. So let me finish the button pushing, and crew, we will get started here in a moment. But as always, I am your host. It is great to see you live as well. There's Matt. There's Paul. We're here. Lorette's waiting. A business. Yeah, baby. Rocking the good stuff.
Awesome. Halfway through January.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously?
50 weeks left to achieve all of your desires for 2022. 50 weeks.
Yeah. Were we talking a little bit this week about a little bit of the 80-20, Matt? You were saying that. How many days was that?
Yeah. So if you follow the 80-20 rule throughout the course of the year, you can have a fall down moment for 73 days, 2.5 months. So for all of us that are, wanting a wellness plan or to read more or to, do whatever it may be, you have 73 days that you can say, I didn't make it happen today. That's okay. So I needed to kind of reset that too, being Friday. And I went, I don't know if I accomplished all that I wanted to this week. And it's all right. I got 50 more weeks. So yeah, no, great statement, Paul.
Yeah. And isn't this the day that everything starts to drop off for New Year's resolutions too?
Right.
All right. This is where that.
When's Blue Monday? Was it this past Monday or is it this upcoming Monday?
Bills come out, right? So
yeah.
It's this Monday.
Yeah. All you have to look forward to, bills. So.
All right, we're letting the crew in. So here we go. They're going to start popping in a moment. And you guys have stolen my thunder. Anyway, Mitch Cavage coaching the Savage in Business. This is officially the Virtual Business Box Lunch, January 14th, 2022. Woo! And the boys were already talking. If you've been joining us live as it stands already, you've heard a little bit of that chatter coming in already. But hey, here we are, 2 weeks, 2 official weeks in. 50 weeks to go to finish out our year. What? That's going to be part of our theme. And as always, being the host, I get to pick what we talk about. But to do that, you need a good crew riding shotgun. So as always, on my screen, on these sides to me, I got Paul and Matt, my brothers from other mothers. And today, joining us, there's our queen of battle, Lorette. There's Danny. Oh, my warrior princess is sitting right there. And my brother Don, bringing the heat as well. We brought smart people together to talk about the week that was in business. What's happened? What's going to happen next? Everybody on here is an expert at something that you don't know how to do. It's something that's important for you, for your life, for your business. And they're going to give you the benefit of their thoughts in real time while we solve problems, overcome challenges, and generally say bad words. Why? I ticked the little box already that said this is not for children. So get fucking ready because we're about to do the Virtual Business Box Lunch, week that was in business. And with that, Paul, Matt, take it over for a moment. I can do a little more button pushing and let's get started with business as it is, business as it was, and what people need to do next so that they can maximize the next 50 weeks of their time. Paul, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Paul Fikowski, business coach, broker of certainty. And I help fix businesses that are in a rut. So, it's the same old. Doesn't have to be the same old. We can get you out of that rut and get you to where you need to be. You got 50 weeks. Let's get after it.
Absolutely. I agree. And we're all wearing kind of shirts repping the business today. So mine's the 1% business needs a 1% attitude. And we work diligently as a team and as individuals to help any small business, any medium-sized business just get out of their own way. And this time of year, we're still there. We've read a book, we've done this, we've done all these things. We said, yeah, it's a brand new year. But realistically, if you haven't created a new ritual or habit around a task that you need to accomplish, you're not going to be able to succeed. And that's something that I'm focusing quite a bit with my clients to say, listen, what's the task that you need to create in order to have this habit formed quickly so that we can get to the next item. Small steps, small baby steps on that ladder to success.
Mhm. And of course, from our panel, bring it home. Danny, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Danielle Pilon. I own DSOS Bookkeeping and Accounting. We are your one-stop shop from start to finish, everything from incorporations to bookkeeping to year ends to personal taxes. Passionate about money and finance, aggravated that our system currently breeds ignorance when it comes to the world of finances. Everybody knows you should have a business, but they really truly don't know how to use it. My mission in life is to make sure that we can put a couple extra tools in the business tool belt, some that are my own by creation, some of them that are bastardized by other people's beautiful journeys, including Paul, Mitch, and Matt, who constantly help me grow my business. And yeah, here to, I don't know, offer advice and tips and tricks when it comes to money. And that's what I do.
Laurette.
Hello, my name is Laurette Lee. I'm from Phoenix Career Development. There's a theory behind getting your dream job, and I know it. And too many people hate their jobs. So I'm like, come talk to me if you just have a deep, searing hatred of your job, because I help develop careers.
Ooh, lethal. Nice. Don.
Don Verboom from Four Tree Coaching here in Edmonton. I take good businesses and I make them great. You know, whatever that needs to be. Their people, their money, their exit strategies, all kinds of wonderful things, and love to be participating in this to learn some new ideas so that I can share them with my clients and connections.
Badass. Love it. All right, we're here. We're going to dive right in as always. And what I love to do, as is my wanted custom, I don't tell anybody that's coming on about anything that we're going to talk about. So you get it raw and live in real time, hear what they're thinking, hear what they feel about it. More importantly, what they would do to literally solve the problem in the same way that we all have to in business and in life when it happens right now. Don't have the benefit of going away. Sometimes they don't have the benefit of waiting. So hear from the experts how they're going to solve those problems right now. Matt, I'm going to get you to start off because you mentioned something, and this is one of the words that's entered my vocabulary since the new year started, delicious. You mentioned this delicious statistic right now, and we've been talking about it for a while. We are 2 weeks into January. Failure rate for New Year's resolutions, other stuff like that is coming up fast. It's coming up hot and heavy. You thought 13 days ago that you're going to do something fantastic for yourself. Statistically, you're liable to fail in the next 7 days. Oh, what did you talk about downtime? That's the number I want you to start with. And I want everybody's taking opinion on that, because right now, what happens for the rest of the year, critically important to get right now for the rest of the year. Otherwise, you are fucked. So Matt, fill us back into that statistic. And I want everybody's opinion on exactly that thinking and what it's going to take for people to maximize what is now only 50 weeks left for this year.
Right. Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, like Paul had mentioned in one of our other groups, the syndicate, I had read a stat where if you followed the 80-20 rule in your business throughout the course of the year, and any habit that you're trying to create, you have 73 days is that 20% marker, which means that you don't have to just always win. You can have those days where you're like, oh, that wasn't a big win. That's okay. 73 days, that's 2.5 months. And to me, we need to, and Laurette, you and I chatted about this at length, is that it's small steps. Don't go out. And again, many of us were like, January 1st, it's dry January. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to clear out the fridge. I'm going to do that. Well, no wonder you fail, right? You got 1,000 things that you're trying to do all at once. My goal with all of my clients is to simply say, what is the biggest impact option right now? What are you going to do today that's going to make your biggest impact? And also be a catalyst to that next step. So if you have 5 things that you want to accomplish personally, professionally, spiritually, take the one that's going to make the biggest impact. And then from there, use that for the next 4 to 5 weeks, create your ritual, create your habit, and then bring on another one. And I can assure you that you will be further ahead by this time next year if you follow that rather than try and do it all and then just throw your hands up because you had a donut or 6 today, like I did. I didn't have 6. But anyway, the stat is simply this: 80-20. If you're great 80% of the time, it's okay for 73 days. to have some great food, to have a cocktail on a Friday, to not go for that run. It is okay, but just don't stop. Continue that momentum.
Panel thoughts? And by the way, Matt eating gluten. Holy crap.
It was a
That's
gluten-free
astonishing.
and it was for breakfast. It was awesome.
All right, panel, what do you think? What you got? What else do you have to add? Because of course, 50 weeks left. How do people make sure they stay on task, they stay on point? What do they have to do to stick with it as well? And we got 73 days. Don't pack them all in one place. So what else do people need to be mindful of? Because failure comes hot and fast, and we get discouraged in a hurry. So what do we got to do to waylay that, to set it aside, to keep everything moving? And what are the things that are critical for people to focus on? Rhett?
Oh yeah, you know I have things to say right away. So like restoration is important, and alignment. So like understanding your mind, your heart, and your soul together. So Monday is Blue Monday, and no matter what, it sucks. So we're coming into like the crappiest day ever of the entire year. So like self-forgiveness, be uncomfortable, do the uncomfortable things early in the new year so that you can fly through the rest of the year. And like self-forgiveness. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's exactly what Matt said earlier.
Don?
My thoughts are this time of year are about resetting your why and your big, hairy, audacious goal. You know, looking at those things and making sure they still make sense. Because if you're trying to develop a new habit that brings you closer to something, what is that something? What is the why you get up and do everything every day? And, you know, this year someone pointed out to me, my coach said, get in there and look at your big, hairy, audacious goal. It's not big enough. It's like, what? What do you mean? You know, like, what would you do if there was no limits? You know, it's like, wow, I could do all this. So this is what I do. You know, it's like, so you're just resetting my mindset to the bar is up here. Why am I holding myself to here when I, you know, could go up? So I love this time of year for resets.
Danny, Scott?
I think our biggest piece of advice when it comes to staying on track with things, and I'm sure Scott's going to say I stole his thunder here for a second, which is the calendar. It's for me, I say, for example, I'm juggling 100 things on my to-do list, which for me, that's pretty normal. I find I can stick to my guns and get things done that are on my goal and on my priority and on my resolutions list by visualizing the steps that I've taken so far. So the progress that I've made. So it takes a huge, massive goal and it breaks it down into everyday steps. And it says, okay, in my calendar, I know that since the beginning of January, so today is what we're sitting at, the 14th. So it's been 2 weeks. Well, in 2 weeks, I have done this, and this, because I can see them in my calendar. So maybe my first goal of, you know, whatever it is, I'm 20% of the way there. Maybe the next one, I'm 10% of the way there. Maybe the next one, I'm 30% of the way there, because I can actually map out the steps and then I put them in my calendar. So my calendar will literally say, woke up. The next one will say, had a shower. The next one will say, drove kids to school. The next one will say, made a phone call to so-and-so, did this. And I'm not 100% perfect. My learn has been to stop beating myself up when I don't put 110% of what I did in a day into my calendar, but it's in a scratch pad or a notebook or something like that. And for me, it's that visual confirmation that I'm finishing what I started or set out to. And some of the goals are quarterly goals, some of them are year-long goals, and some of them are multi-year goals. But it checks off the box in my head that says that I'm making progress. And for me, visualizing it using my calendar, that makes a huge difference.
Well, I think it comes down to putting things in place because, you know, like you didn't steal my thunder, even though like subscribe to the calendar method. But it's knowing that there are things that I build plans for and sticking to that plan, regardless of what's going on. If I don't stick to that plan, whatever my overall goal is, I'm not going to be able to accomplish if I'm busy putting out fires all over the place, because it's just distracting and it takes you away from the needs and the have to do's in your business. Yes, there's things that need to get taken care of right away, but going back to the calendar theory, if you put it in your calendar, you're going to get to it. If it's an absolute necessity, well, maybe you have a spare block where you put that stuff and you can shift some things into it. But you know, sticking to that plan, and then you know, you always have that anxiety of wanting to do better or wanting to succeed more. But if you get ahead of that plan, that success may not come because you're just gaslighting yourself and you're just, you know, putting more obstacles in front of you but you don't need to do that when you've just simplified it and put the pieces in place and you follow that plan.
Paul?
Yeah, the compound effect, right? What do I do today that's going to affect tomorrow or move me down the line? If I don't start my marketing today, how is that going to affect me a month from now, 2 months from now? If I don't start eating properly, maybe, it's not a month or two from now, but, what is the compounding effect? I try to focus on what am I going to lose today by not doing it and saying, I can do it tomorrow. So it really is, looking at how is that going to affect me down the line, and good or bad, and keeping that front of mind.
All right, we hear an awful lot. Don, I love you for bringing it to the forefront today. Big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAGs. They are the big, hairy, audacious goal. It's the thing that should scare you a little bit, or more importantly, a lot. So, question for the panel. Show of hands first. We'll get some feedback here in a moment. Who achieved every one of their milestones last year?
I was 10 out of 11. So I got like 98% of them.
I want you to listen to the words very carefully. Who achieved every one of their milestones? In other words, everything that you could measure last year. No. Okay. Who achieved every one of their big, hairy, audacious goals last year? Who scared themselves enough but was able to achieve it? There's a difference between the two. There is, right? And we've identified it here today. So I want the panel to think about it for a moment, because I'd like that to be the next topic of conversation. I want us to help everybody that's listening out there now, and everybody in YouTube land is going to get there next, to actually think about the big, hairy, audacious goal. When we write $1 million on a piece of paper, we've already failed. Already failed 100%. That's a checkbox. That's a checkbox. You could make $1 million selling $1 million $1 things, or selling $1 million thing. That's not big, audacious, hairy. Well, not too many people make $1 million. No, statistically, it's 1/16% of people make $1 million in personal earnings in a year. 1% of businesses make $1 million in a year worldwide. That is not a big, hairy, audacious goal. Taking 80% of your market share in your territory is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Launching the most expensive product in your segment and not knowing how the market's going to respond is going to be a big, hairy, audacious goal. Starting a business in the middle of a pandemic, selling soup on the street, is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Why? Selling things to people face to face in the middle of a pandemic where we keep getting sent home is going to be tough. You don't know what's going to happen next. That should scare the hell out of you, especially if you got to pay your rent, your mortgage, or whatever else is going on. It should scare you. Being the largest street vendor soup supplier in Western Canada in the middle of a pandemic is a big, hairy, audacious goal. You could make $100, $1,000, $1 million, $100 million selling soup for a living. Anybody heard of Campbell's? Right? You could make hundreds of millions of dollars selling soup in a pandemic if you're willing to change. Now, selling $1 million in soup in the next year, in the next 50 weeks, street side, may not be realistic, but it may scare the hell out of you to become one of the best soup street vendors ever. But what if at the moment your big, hairy, audacious goal is to beat Campbell's at selling soup? Does that sound scary? Sound big? Right? So there's a difference between a big, hairy, audacious goal and checking all the boxes, because things change. Things become fluid. The market moves it along. Now, this is my dialectic dialogue for a moment. Business is iterative, meaning that every single day you have to deal with the iteration of what's going on in your business. The market changes. Things don't work out the way you wanted to. Things work out better than the way you wanted to. Things work out somewhere in the middle. Things deviate from what we thought that were going to happen. That's why our measurables at the end are always the fluid part. We need them to give ourselves an anchor point to work towards. But at the end of the day, you're not going to check all the boxes by the time you get there. What's interesting to notice, your big, hairy, audacious goal can be worth far more than what you thought it was. So big, hairy, audacious goals. What is a big, hairy, audacious goal? What categorizes or classifies it as a big, hairy, audacious goal? And what is your big, hairy, audacious goal for the year? Because that's going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people talking out loud on the interweb saying, this is what I'm going to do. Call it manifestation, if you will. But what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? And you're only going to have 30 seconds to talk about what is a big, hairy, audacious goal, what classifies for it, and what is your big, hairy, audacious goal. Make sense? Okay. Shake it out. Just the push-ups. Who's up first?
Me.
Done.
Big, hairy, audacious goals are simply the desired outcome for success. So the definition of success in your world of today, right? So for me, and I actually have this written down for my kids to see too, I'm going to be able to be a member of Virgin Galactic. I'm going to space. So either it's $22 million Canadian, or I'm going to create such an impact somewhere where they're going to want me on that. Now, is that for 2022? We'll see, but that is my big, hairy, audacious goal.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Badass. Love it. Scare you a little bit? Daunting? Fun?
I'm scared of heights. So the whole space thing is like, people that watch Star Wars and Star Trek are like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then you're like, I can't jump out of a plane. So I don't know if I'm going to space or not, but we'll see.
To re-clarify for everybody out there, big, hairy, audacious goal. What is it? What makes it classify or qualify as a big, hairy, audacious goal? And what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? So 3 parts to this question. What is a big, hairy, audacious goal? What classifies or makes it a big, hairy, audacious goal? And what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? Don? You're on mute, my brother.
Yes, thanks. So yeah, that's what I get for bringing it up. So a big, hairy, audacious goal is that lofty challenge or vision of the future that is very scary. It could be quite a ways out, but it's that setting where if you don't have limits, what could you do? And could you fly in space with Vision or Virgin Airlines or whatever? Like that's pretty big. Be an astronaut, whatever. It just sets that bar way up there about where you want to go, and then it gives you some kind of sense of direction. So that's kind of where I get my clients to kind of go and talk about it. And often you have to get them to really stretch. It's usually they start too small and then you work up. And I'm the same way. My goal is more about completing in 5 years a $5 million in assets. So basically $1 million a year based on investments, based on business, based on other revenue streams. So that's my big, hairy, audacious goal, to do all that and then spend it after that. So
there we go. All right, Danny and Scott, what you got? Oh, Lorette. Okay, Lorette, go for it.
We could save the best for last, but I'd rather go before Danielle because I'm like, maybe Danielle has the best thing to say. Theme is alignment. So what it is your inner demons are the worst things to play with. So how I would do that is long-standing emotional problems. So I'm actually looking at like the inner beast of what makes me like emotionally crazy as a woman or as a person, and like dealing with those, because that's personal development work. At the end of the day, Phoenix Career Development does personal development work. And if I don't do my personal development, how can my clients do theirs? So that's my big, hairy, audacious goal for sure.
Okay. Danny, Scott, what you got?
Okay, big, hairy, audacious goal. By the way, I'm going to hashtag everything BHAG now because that's awesome. Matt, true. The go to space thing. Yeah, I'm afraid of heights and small spaces. I'd love to go to space, but I think I would actually die. Not by them, but by my own problems. I would like self-implode. It'd be terrible, but it'd be so cool. Okay, what are big, hairy, audacious goals? They are the thing that absolutely terrifies you into motivation. It is, for me, it's the thing that sets the limit of the minimum I want to achieve and the minimum where I will feel like I've done something bigger and better than I did the day before, right? Your only competition is yourself. So be bigger and better than you were yesterday. And that's going to look totally different to other people. But I think what classifies one is if it literally scares the shit out of you. You wake up thirsty and hungry for it. You go to bed, and it's being able to check all those boxes on the calendar and say, okay, I'm this much closer to that goal. I'm this much closer. I'm this much closer. And then that ties into what Matt said about having a day where you got 73 days where you can just sit on the couch and be a lump. You got to have those. In the last 14 days, I've had 4 of them because I was sick. Well, I can't beat myself up at losing my goals because I was sick for 4 days. If you live your life to 100% of every single day has to be top notch and you get sick, well, you're going to beat yourself up. So it doesn't make any sense. My big, hairy, audacious goal is to have a tax preparation franchise competitive on every corner to H&R Block. And I think that it's only a matter of time and a little duplication, and we can absolutely blow the doors off that one.
Calling out the big green weenie. Love it. Yeah.
I'm surprised because I was like, okay, well, are we going to talk about the cars, the yachts, or the private island? But my big, hairy, audacious goal is to be the catalyst for my family to live a better life and the people around me to live a better life and to be able to, get to better places. Because if I don't do that with them, I can't be a better person, to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. It's going to take just more than me. But my real goal for the year is to buy a stock car from Japan that I found about 2 months ago. It's a stock car from Days of Thunder, and I'm going to buy it because me and Mitch made an agreement about 2 months ago that this is part of the deal. Now I got to go make that money and buy that car. So
Sometimes they just have to be fun.
Well, you got to have a reason for competitiveness, and it makes it fun, right? Like, I want to take Mitch for a spin in the mellow yellow car.
Fantastic. We're all going to die. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. So for everybody else, before I get to Paul, and we're going to put Yulia on the spot. Yulia, thanks for joining us as always. She's like, what did I get into? It's too late. You're already here and you're on camera. So you're in. You're in like that. We heard a deeply personal one from Lorette. We heard personal set ones from Matt and Scott. We heard business related ones from Dawn and Danny. Big, hairy, audacious goals can be personal, professional, or business. They can encompass all three. They can touch into in each one of these. They can cover all of them, or they can be something so personal and so individual that you doing it scares just you, that you're not sure if you can accomplish it. And that's okay. Big, hairy, audacious goals don't have to be world changing, but they can change your world. So as you think of a BHAG, hashtag BHAG, yours should scare you every day into doing what? Not failing. It may not work out, but it's okay. You can't fail at your big, hairy, audacious goal. It may not work out the way you want it to, but you can't fail at it. Because if you do, the consequence is far worse because of it. Paul, what you got?
I think for me, it's pushing outside of that comfort zone, whatever that may be. And we all have a list, and it's starting with the worst one first. And keep going until you get better at it, and then go off to the next one. So it's comfort zone, it's stepping into that sphere, and just moving forward. Big, hairy, audacious goal would be to deep sea diving in a small cage with great white sharks all around me. That would be a big, hairy, audacious goal out in South Africa. So,
Yulia, we're talking big, hairy, audacious goals to start the year. What is a big, hairy, audacious goal? So in other words, the definition in your mind, what a big, hairy, audacious goal means, and what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? In other words, the one where it's like, if I fail, it will literally kill me. But if I succeed, it means that I'm going to conquer the world. It can be just my world, or it can be the world. So now that we've given you that context, we put you on the spot. Big, hairy, audacious goal. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? And what is your big, hairy, audacious goal?
Yeah, so for me, I was actually looking into that another day, and I don't know if it's going to be accomplished this year. We'll see, but one of the goals for my business I have is to serve 1% of Canadian. So which I calculated would be around 3,080 people. So that's something I'm striving for. And if we reach that, great. If we beat that, it's even better. But for now, yeah, that's That's what my goal is.
Mm. And Don dropped a quote from the great Jim Collins on here, and this is from Good to Great, correct? Yeah, it is. Your big, hairy, audacious goal should be 10 to 25 years out, would make your organization lofty and legendary, challenges you to greatness, and must drive your business fundamentals. It needs to scare the pants off of you. Did you achieve it? Did you get closer? Are you marching down that path? Is it going to be? Now think about that number for a moment, 10 to 25 years. What is 25 years? It's considered a generation. An entire era of people will have grown up listening to what you do. An entire adult population will move towards retirement watching you do it. An entire generation that's moving into retirement right now will pass away while you're achieving your goals. Does that sound like big, hairy, and audacious? Yeah. People will expire before you're done on your mission. People will fail at their own missions or never try while you build yours, or people will go up hearing about how you created yours. Ooh, does that sound delicious? Does that sound good? All right. Screech to a halt, record scratch, stop, stretch it out. Okay. On to the next one. On to the next one. What for your big, hairy, audacious goal are you working on for the next 30 days? What's that one can't miss, can't fail that you must do to get towards it? I'm hearing going to space. I'm here swimming with the sharks. So something's got to move to get you one step closer, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or in this case, 30 days closer to that. What's going to be you in 30 days looking back and going, this is what I did to get towards that. There we go. Calling you out, putting you on the spot. What's the thing in the next 30 days you're going to get done? Why? There's 7 of us. There's 8 of us on this call right now. We're telling the world what we're going to do, but we're also going to show people how many different types of people are here. Some of us are older. Some of us are younger. Some of us are boys. Some of us are girls. Some of us are different economic situations. The other person doesn't matter. We're all trying to conquer the world, or just our world. So next 30 days, what gets you closer to it? Lorette, bringing you up first.
Why we gotta make this so difficult? How do you solve a problem? Problem solving skills. So like there's 5 steps to solving a problem. Like, what is the problem? Let's name the problem, find solutions to the problem, and then like put them into play. And if it doesn't work, reform. But if it does work, guess what? You solve the problem. So like for me, long-standing emotional problems, I had to like write a list of what emotional problems were, because I didn't even know the definition of long-standing emotional problems. And then it was like offer solutions. So I was like, okay, if you're sad, why are you sad? And sometimes emotions are like neither good nor bad. So like let the emotions flow. Did it work? Am I better now? Like crying is healthy for you. So yes, it's a long-standing emotional problem, but you need to let it cry. You need to let it be. So I'm going to just offer a really simple answer: problem solving skills.
Yeah. Let's not let her off the hook.
No.
We're friends. Lorette, that's a great theory and a great process to solve it. But what are you doing?
I told you. I was like, I'm calling.
You're doing it like every day, every minute, or there's there an hour that you do it?
That was the most textbook answer anybody could have given.
You're welcome.
I want to know you, specific.
No, but it has to do with feelings, and I'm uncomfortable talking about feelings.
Okay, on this.
Every day I sit here and I'm like, what feeling is long-standing emotional problems? And I was like, depression. So I'm like, I hate being depressed, but like depression is important to have, right? So then I have to come up with solutions. How do you become undepressed? And then I found out that this is like within this month, you can react. Emotions are a sign around what's going on around you. So if you have a shitty life and have shitty emotions, you can change that to like prep your mind to have better. So instead of depression, how can I go on an adventure today? Well, I don't know if you know me, but I am the legendary venture. Like I am the unicorn to the Viking princess to the empress. Like it's about creating a better story. So like long-standing emotional problems or being an empress of your life. So creating. Does that answer your question to the A++ degree?
No,
really. Well, we're looking
Yeah.
for a time
You
and
didn't
place.
answer the question at all.
Where are your mechanic?
Can I just live in creative imagination, guys?
No,
I hate feelings.
we call that gaslighting.
Gaslighting. I don't know.
What's your mechanic?
What
What's
do
my
you do? Do you read a book? Do you journal? Do you write it down? Do you
Okay, let's pause. Sometimes physical is the best way. So yesterday I was like, I have snow. I'm depressed. Why don't I make a Viking princess throne? So I physically created something and then I saw it and I wasn't depressed anymore.
So is that your big giant thing to do in the next 30 days that gets you
Yeah,
your big
every
audacious
day.
goal?
Every day I have to be like, what is this
Build a
depression?
chair
Like,
every day?
what's the
build a
long
snowman every day?
every day, guys? It's really hard. I'm exhausted. So
How many chairs
hard.
do you have in your
We need
yard?
pictures of the last 14 days thrones.
Dawn, is that good enough? Do we have to get her to send us a picture of her ice throne every day?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
think
guys see
so.
my cool Viking princess photos yesterday?
I saw that with the big sword. Yeah,
But that wasn't taken yesterday.
yeah.
Yes, they were.
We're talking future.
I'll just say this, Lorette. The metric should be you add to that throne. You create more of an empress throne because we've had this chat, right? So every day you can add to that, making sure that you are emotionally available to have that journey. So if you're depressed, like I love winter, right? But some people don't. And again, Blue Monday's coming up. But to me, to satisfy everyone in this room, first, I love that we're calling you out. And second, just say, okay, well, I now have built the throne. So small step, but big step. You've had the catalyst. Now add to that throne so you look like the freaking ice princess from Game of Thrones. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Add a sword.
I
Right?
am.
Yeah. And then
That's the
throw
throne.
some swords into it. So add to that throne every single day. That could be part of your metric.
Polar dip.
Add
Woo!
a sword when you accomplish something.
Wim Hof, just say
Yes,
it.
don't give yourself
Jump
a
into the
fancy
ice
sword.
cold water. Ah.
So are we making Lorette do a polar dip in 30 days after she finishes 30 days of building an ice throne?
Oh yeah,
That's
It'll only
very-
be February.
I wait 30 days.
you won't be depressed. It
Can
shows the
someone
cold
else go
water.
now?
Cancel
Someone
depression.
else have their problems. Someone else have their BHAG. Like
All right, Lorette, you owe us pictures.
in 30 days, I will do a Wim Hof. Okay.
What?
Okay, so here's the deal. Because we see one another often throughout the week, I will do a polar dip with you at the chosen date of the group.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, outdoor,
Oh.
indoor, ice bath doesn't matter to me. I will commit that you don't have to do it alone because accountability is key and community is key. So I will go for a swim if need be.
Who has a kiddie pool? That's all we need.
It's frozen.
Perfect. That's what we need.
Just watch
Okay.
out because I back up what I say. So if I say I'm going to do something, I do
Let's
it.
do it.
There we go. Okay. Dawn, is that good enough?
Yeah, okay.
Done. Perfect. All right. And with that, Dawn, what do you
Yes.
do for the next 30 days?
The big action item I'm taking is adding a new marketing process system. You know, I've been dancing around it for 2 months saying, this is good. I've checked it out. I watched it. Now I'm going to actually sign up on Wednesday and bite the bullet, pay the bill and get working on it. So I'm adding a new way of, bringing in clients and keeping a hold of them and tracking them. And, it's just a scary amount of extra work, but I think that's the big game changer for me is, make a big addition to the marketing.
Okay. Anybody want to call Dawn out? Is he good? No? All right.
Wednesday, 9:30, 10X
Wednesday, 9:30,
Advantage. Sign it.
Done. We're on. Hey, I'll be talking to you on Tuesday, so I'll remind myself to ask you about that. We got it. Yulia, what are you doing in the next 30 days to get you closer to your big, hairy, audacious goal? Next 30 days, what are you doing that's going to get you closer?
So yeah, every month I set up myself like at least 3 big goals, right? So, and then I'm trying to make small steps to progress and achieve those. This month I'm expanding into Mexico. So that's the market I am gonna start going into. And yeah, we're already establishing some business partnerships, and the next step would be just get it out there. So and do more marketing, but that's gonna come later in the spring. So yeah, that's one thing. I have a few other big goals I need to also work on, but yeah, that's one of them.
While we're here, and before I flip over in a moment to Danny and Scott, and then ultimately bring Matt and Paul into this, everybody that's out there and everybody listens to in the future, I want you to pay close attention. The community of everybody that shows up to the virtual business box lunch every week, we all break bread together on a regular basis. We all talk together on a regular basis. We all support each other and discuss each other's businesses. We can refer to each other. Why do we do this? It's not just because some business or some cult or our sister business syndicate was created. We're all members over there. It's because we created part of the community. The community helps with accountability. The community helps with goal setting. The community helps with achievement. You hear what I'm saying? To achieve a big, hairy, audacious goal, you are never going to do it by yourself. You're never going to do it. So get the right community around you, because sometimes I might need to call you out. Sometimes I might be able to support you. Sometimes it might help. Or in Matt's case, he's going to come along for the polar dip with Lorette. Sometimes that's what it takes to be able to get there and get to that spot to achieve the next milestone or to get your big, hairy, audacious goal. Does not happen alone. Danny, Scott, 30 days. What you got?
Mine's easy. Just going back to what I was talking about earlier, for me, it's just sticking to my mechanics. I got the plan in place. I got the things to happen at designated trigger points. I have, when stuff should happen, and I just have to keep myself from getting overly anxious about moving the process faster, because I think it should move faster, not, naturally just happening based off the plan that I built. But so sticking to my plan is the paramount key to success for me in the next month, because I could come up with 10,000 altered plans to try to make it move faster, but I believe I have a good plan with the team around me, and I think that it's going to work. And I think that there's no reason to get ahead of myself with this and find problems where they don't exist.
Everybody, is that clear enough? Clear enough? Good enough?
I just like to clarify with Yulia, just trying to coordinate your big hairy goal and going to Mexico. If your goal was to get 3,000 Canadians and that, how does going to Mexico help to hit your big hairy goal of doing Canada?
A great question. Well, we will be serving Canadians going into Mexico. So who coming from, going from Canada to Mexico as like holidays or do some adventure travel. So that's what we're hoping to, serve still Canadian people. If there is opportunity to serve people from other countries, great. So, but it will just add up. If we're just focusing on Canada, that's what that's how it comes in place.
Okay. And 3,000 people would be 100th of 1%, I think, not 1%.
Yeah, 1%.
No, 100th of 1. 1% would be like 360,000 people.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I think you said 3,000.
No. That's what I said. 360,000. That's 1%.
That's how many you want to have as customers.
Of course.
Okay.
Not this year, as I said, but eventually.
10 to 25.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Danny?
My mechanics that I am dedicating a little bit of time to every single day over the next 30 days, which is going to get us to the point where we can actually launch our expansion, is creating solid, duplicatable, trainable SOPs for every process that we do unequivocally, which is something that we've had in pieces over the last 8 years, but actually putting it into one format, simplifying it, making it, like I said, duplicatable and trainable. That is going to be the key to make sure that when we go to unroll this to other people, that it is absolutely as simple and straightforward as possible so that they can have their own success, and that in turn ensures ours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Danny, do you have a process that or a template that you use for that, or you got to do it kind of page by page? I just have a couple other clients that need that, and I was just wondering if there's a nice little operation manual template.
I spent, like, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of templates on the internet, but I actually pay for a program or a website called businessinabox.com. I absolutely in love with the idea of Business in a Box, but they have, I think there's like 14,000 templates on there. Another good one is template.net, and the last one is workable.com. those 3 websites, you will find every template for every single thing you could possibly use in your business. And I will say, I may or may not pay for about 7 more, but those are the 3 that that do the best. And I mean, it really comes down to the business's style and how complicated you want it to be. But I find that Business in a Box has pretty much templates for every single thing. It's just finding that default and then duplicating it in every process. And some manuals for work have screen captures, like pictures and stuff. Some are just text. I like doing mine with the visual aspect because let's face it, we look at enough spreadsheets as bookkeepers. Putting a little picture in there makes it a little more interesting for people when they're trading.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Specific enough? Good enough? Good. Going once, going twice. Paul.
Fucking cold calling. I'm good, and then I'm bad, and then I leave it, then I forget it, and then I bring it back again. So for me, it's getting on the fucking cold calling train and staying with it and being consistent and having those 5 quality meetings to get 2 clients a month.
Okay. Crew, specific enough?
How many calls are you making today?
How many calls am I making today? 10 calls today.
And how many of them are true cold calls and how many of those are follow-up?
Would be 3 follow-up and 7 cold calls.
Love it.
Love it. All right. Matt, bring up the rear.
Well, I will say this. So I don't want to be an astronaut. However, the reason that I want to go to space is that I'm a nerd and I love Star Trek and Star Wars. But I've been fortunate enough to be introduced to Canada's next astronaut, Josh Kutrick. And he was captivating because he has the coolest stories, right? Like he's a brand new dad. I've met him more than once. And I was just like, I want to have stories like that. So that to me is that we've reconnected. And I was like, listen, share with me like the thoughts, the fears and all those things. Cause again, like I'm not going to be a full-time astronaut. I don't feel like going for a spacewalk quite yet. I just want to get to that level where I can literally look out and be like, this isn't on National Geographic Channel. This is me. And I want to see that. So just knowing what his training process is going to be great. And creating the influence needed in order to get a ticket on a ship like that.
Should be able to buy one.
Yeah. And again, at 22 million bucks, it's achievable.
Well,
right?
It'll go down in a while. Yeah.
Right. I don't want to be a 60-year-old going to the space though. I want Captain Kirk to be the oldest guy to be a
I want to beat his record of whatever 84.
Yeah. Was that specific enough?
So what are you doing? What are you doing about it? I guess.
I'm learning what actually is needed to achieve. So it was one of those things where I have an idea in my mind, but I don't really know what the mechanics are. So I'm identifying what's the next step, right? And how is there a height requirement? Because man, do I hate that I still can't get on all the rides at Klondike Days. So, maybe it's not possible. Maybe I have to get lifts in my shoes or something like that. But again, it's just a really fast plane ride straight up. And then I think you coast for a little bit and come back down. So I believe that I'm almost there. It's just now about creating the influence to create the finances to get the ticket.
That would be my question. Would you buy a ticket to go? Like if it would be like reasonable, accessible,
honestly, my desired outcome, the goal is to create influence so that there's enough people that want to see me up there. And again, that's not being a social media influencer per se, but it's just creating, I'm a doc connector, hence the background. I want to be able to say, hey, Sir Richard Branson, you're cool. I want to learn from you. But first, I want to go up in your ship. And that's really what I want. So if anybody's read The Third Door, Lorette, I'm going to create a compound effect where I get to meet with somebody that will eventually get me to Sir Richard Branson. And then from there, I'm going to make enough of an impact that he's going to want me up there.
So why not Elon Musk?
I love Musk. Love him lots. But that ship may just need, it's kind of like the Tesla cars. I absolutely love them, and it most likely will be my next car. But love them. I do love them.
Kazakhstan. Come on, we could ship you off to Kazakhstan too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Russians I hear are doing great things. You could just, over there.
And that probably you could barter that, right? So I'm pretty well placed for that.
That should be the rule. You got to barter your way onto a spacecraft.
Yeah,
Listen,
keep
I just
trading
saw
up.
again that somebody through the pandemic did the paperclip to the house thing. There was a lady that took the entire pandemic. Yeah. She took a bobby pin that was at the bottom of her makeup drawer and she made 27 trades and got a house, 2,200 square feet.
Wow.
It was like, hey, like that. I love those stories.
That's
and she
awesome.
did it all digitally.
You're
Crazy.
probably about 40 trades away from getting strapped
Spaceship.
into
Yeah.
spaceship and fired off into space.
Let's do it. I'll keep you updated.
Count them down.
All right. I'll start a website.
And we
Go.
might have to add the Chinese with their hypersonic rocket too, right?
That's
So
true.
I think your market is expanding for options of actually going
Not
to
just-
space.
It's not just Richard Branson, okay?
That's right.
Creative. Don't pigeonhole yourself, Matt.
I love it. Thank you for
Well,
the feedback, everyone. Don't pitch.
all right. Is everybody good with their big, hairy, audacious goal and what they're going to do in the next 30 days?
Hell yeah.
Nice. Audience that's out there and whoever's listening in the future, your big, hairy, audacious goal doesn't start in January. It doesn't start in December. It doesn't start in July. It starts wherever you're at right now. The next 30 days are critical. You have to be really specific what that big, hairy, audacious goal is. You have to understand the stuff you got to do to get there. And then you have to leverage the ever-living shit out of your opportunities to be able to do what you're going to do to get there. So, what's the little tiny thing? This is going to be our last question for the day. You're going to have 30 seconds to answer. What's the little tiny thing that is really important to you still that you have to tick the box off this year? What's the little tiny thing? It can be immeasurable, whatever it is. We've talked big, hairy, audacious goals today. What is the little tiny thing? Because the little tiny things are important too. They're not the most critical. They're not the ones that are going to change your life, but they're still important. Check that box, get it covered. It could be making just a certain amount of money, whatever it is. But these little boxes are the ones that keep us moving because we can't spend forever at 50,000 foot unless we got the mechanics and the steps to work forward. 40 trades away. By the way, Matt, right now to get to Sir Richard Branson, 5 conversations. I guarantee you 5 conversations. 100% I guarantee you 5 conversations. And I even think I know who the first 3 are. So, there's lots of different roads to Rome, right? You got to find the right way to do it. But what's the one little thing that you're going to tick that box on at the end of the year? It's going to make you happy. It's going to fill you, or it's going to take care of something that's important to you. What's the little ones? Take a second, think about it. And then you're going to have 30 seconds to spill it out. And for the audience at home, why? Because it's the little things that we got to pay attention to every day. You got to make enough money to pay the bills, to keep the lights on and the roof over your head so that you can keep working on the big, hairy, audacious goal. If you're working towards your big, hairy, audacious goal, does that allow you to make money while you're doing it? Is it part of your business? Otherwise, how else are you going to get there, right? It's immeasurable. The measurables are not unimportant, but they're not the only way to make sure that you get yourself to a successful place. So, what is the one little but important thing that you definitely want to make sure you're taken care of by the end of the year? Don, go ahead.
20 clients at the same time.
Okay, there we go. How close are you?
Halfway there.
Nice. Okay, badass. Love it. Anybody ask for any clarification? Good to go.
What
Don?
level or what value of client are you looking for?
I think the combined value is 20,000 a month in billing.
Okay.
So it could be a variety of people on the scale.
Great. Thanks.
Perfect. Awesome. Yulia, what's the one little important thing you're going to have taken care of by the end of the year?
Well, offer at least 400 different experiences. So that's minimum.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Anybody for clarification? Going once, going twice. Lorette, how about you?
Oh, gonna echo Dawn. I'm reading the book Start With Your Why by Simon Sinek because one of my partners at a Pacific Link college is reading it. So it aligns us to have a conversation that's better and more quality. So I have to read this book so I can talk about this book with one of my clients.
Oh, nicely done. Good work. Good work. Danny?
Personal one. I need to get off of the last set of medication that I'm on. I am taking my mind back, and it helps my focus every day, and it helps me get back to who I am. And life will throw you curveballs sometimes, and you have to ask for help, but it feels really good to be able to stand on your own 2 feet without help anymore.
There you go.
We got engaged like a year and a while ago, and we done this thing where we put off getting married for business.
That's gonna be my second one.
And it's just who we are. Don't judge. So for me, planning our wedding and getting the invitations out is important, so people show up to it in November.
Yeah.
So that's when it's going to happen.
That was going to be my second one, I swear. I was like, should I say getting married?
All
I'm
right.
glad you didn't steal mine this time.
No, I know.
Paul?
I've always wanted to do more stock trading or technical analysis, and I'm committed to putting the time in on that side. And it seems like crypto is bringing that to life. So I'm committing to spending a minimum of an hour a day looking and reading up and doing that.
Okay. Matt?
Personally, small little activities. I'm going to run 5 Spartan races this year, or some sort of outdoor adventure race. And again, the mechanics is obviously health and wellness overall in order to achieve that. And then professionally, I've said this before, I want to help 500 people within the community. That could be income-wise, that could be spiritually, that could be in so many different ways, but 500 people this year that I'm going to be able to touch and help.
Oh, there we go. All right. Both painful and painless at the same time. Audience that's watching, get your shit together, right? Pick something big that scares you. Have a series of measurables, benchmarks, test measures, steps, mechanics, 40 conversations, 40 barter trades, 5 people that you've got to meet, whatever it is to go to space, right? Scare yourself with the value of what you want to build in the form of your businesses, entities in life. That was Dawn's take on that. Go to an entirely different country in the middle of a pandemic, because that's where other people are going to. Continue to look at the way you foster whatever your hopes and dreams are, whatever the nurture points are that you need out of life to get you ahead, because that's what makes life delicious. That's what makes it lethal. That's what makes it important to us. You have to have this for your business to succeed and for you to achieve something outside of yourself, to be able to give back, etc. So as we continue to navigate forward, and we're officially in season 2 of Virtual Business Box Lunch. So to everybody last year in 2021, thank you so much for coming and being on. We're in what is the start of season 2 right now. And in the next 90 days, we're going to be, as we go live, just like we are right now, people are going to be able to find us on where? Amazon Prime in the new year, in 2022. It's one of the things I wanted to make sure that we could achieve for this. So you guys are going to be Insta famous. It's going to be awesome. You're going to be all, you can say, by the way, have you checked out my show on Amazon Prime? Imagine being able to drop that on people that you know here in the new year, right? It's going to be pretty cool to say that. So for everybody that's here, as always, thank you for coming and sharing. For the audience that watches in the coming days, weeks, months, and years, you need to know that we are people. We own businesses. We have families and lives and all these other things. And we got dreams that can scare us, and we got things that we got to accomplish just like you do. Every week we come here to share those things with you. And most of the time, we're just going to talk about the week that was in business. We saw this thing, we heard that thing. Here's what happened on the news. Here's what's affecting the economy. Inflation's going up. Here's what you should see in sales trends, etc. But to start every year, we got to start with what? A plan. And that plan of action, part of it should scare you. And part of it needs to be the mechanics, the metrics, the things to go through. That's what you need. Loretta to drop off. Yulia, as always, it's a pleasure to see you here. Thank you so much. Don, my brother, you're here all the time. Thank you so much for popping in. Daddy and Scott, I see you everywhere, of course. I see you all the time. Thank you so much. Paul, Matt, couldn't do this without you guys being here to help support this and carry this forward. Why? Because this is part of my dream. 1 person, 2 people, 5 people, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. By the way, except for the really clever things I get to do in marketing, I've left Virtual Business Box Lunch alone to see what YouTube, what the world's going to do, and we generate dozens of views a week. Dozens of people choose to tune in and listen to us every week right now, and that's growing week over week. What's going to happen another week, another month, or another year with this audience and with the other things that we get to do? Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are going to hear us talk about this stuff every single week, just trying to make their lives a little better while we work on ours. I think that's pretty cool. You help me fulfill one of the things that I want to accomplish this year, and I thank you for it. To our audience, this is the MCC Virtual Business Box Lunch, January 14th of 2022, 2 exact weeks in. You got 50 weeks left to go. Make it happen. From our panel, thank you so much. For my brothers from other mothers, once again, I heart you. And from myself to you, stay savage in business, become a broker of certainty in your own life, and make sure to maximize what you do for yourself day in and day out. And come back next Friday for the next episode of VBBL, and we will help you figure out the week that was in business. I am your host, Mitch Camage. I am the Savage in Business.